TBQ. Ain't I got you on the back foot, and you know I got you really good.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katie Krahulik, and you're listening to Leading Ladies, a women's talk show that features relatable, intelligent, compassionate, powerful, productive women of the 21st century. And my first guest today, she's here today. She works in the Hudson Valley, and I'm very excited to introduce Dr. Jamee Goldstein.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. And so, Jamie, could you tell us a little bit about what it is you do for a living?
So I am an osteopathic pediatrician at Monroe Pediatric Associates. It's in Monroe. We've been there about 50 years or so.
Nice.
And we're a really interesting group because there's 6 doctors and 3 of us grew up together and grew up in the practice.
Oh, nice.
One of my partner's dads was very powerful in building up the group and getting us a fabulous reputation. And when I was in high school, he offered me my job.
Wow.
Yes, I was very fortunate to know, even before I'd gotten into medical school, where I'd be practicing.
Oh, wow.
And we have it's a unique vibe because I'm fortunate to work with people that I've known my whole life and that I really adore and consider family. And I love pediatrics. It's such a phenomenal experience to be able to have a positive influence in a child's life and to watch them grow up and become something amazing and hope that you had a little bit of an influence in that.
Of course, I'm sure it's extremely rewarding.
Love my job.
Right.
Love my job. And my children get a little upset because sometimes I'll refer to my patients as my kids,
Right.
and they're like, "Mommy, we're your kids," but they become your children too.
Of course, of course. So how long have you been working, as a professional pediatrician?
I've been out of residency and working as a full-time pediatrician for about 12 plus years now. I came straight from my residency in Brooklyn up here.
Okay. And had you always known that was what you wanted to do?
When I was 3, that's when I
Really?
decided. Yeah, I was sick a lot as a little kid. I had
Okay.
pneumonia 8 times before I was 8, and I lived in my pediatrician's office, Dr. Alan Harowitz. Shout out to Dr. Harowitz. And he was phenomenal. He really encouraged my interest in the human body. And he'd let me listen to my sister's heart and her stomach, which she didn't like, but I did.
Right.
And back then when they did blood counts and things, we didn't have machines. Lab techs actually had to look under microscopes at your blood and count the cells. And he would let me do that. And I even still have the microscope slide he gave me of my own blood at
Do
one
you
point in
really?
time. Yes. So
Oh,
I
that's super
always knew
cool.
this is what I was going to do. And I'm very fortunate to have lived out my dream.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, you get so many people who just have no idea. And you get people who think they know and ends up becoming something totally different. It's really cool that, to see it from the get-go working out. Especially when you were in high school, you found out that you had a job. That's actually crazy. That's so cool.
It was fabulous.
Yeah, it's
it was
awesome.
really nice to know as I was watching my friends in medical school and residency struggle to find positions, to know that I had a place to go that really alleviated a lot of the pressure.
Absolutely.
So that I could really concentrate on just studying as opposed to marketing myself and getting a job.
Absolutely. And then all through college, even you're in schooling, you don't even have to worry about it. That's everyone's biggest concern is what am I going to do after this?
It was definitely a motivating factor.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Well, that's so great. And now that you've been in the practice for a while, what's probably the most challenging, let's say, part of your job as a pediatrician? Tough question.
It is a tough question because there's a number of things that I find challenging.
Right.
I find dealing with insurance companies exceptionally challenging because I'm dealing with people who are not necessarily physicians making medical decisions about my patients. And I'm very passionate about what I do, and I am a fierce advocate for the children that I help take care of. And I find it very frustrating when an insurance company tells me, no, you can't have this test, even though I know that's what the child needs. And they make
Right.
me do other tests where I'm not going to get the results I need first because they're cheaper. I
That's
find
tricky.
that's probably the worst part of it. I also find that parents who don't do what they should for their children, that is very frustrating for me.
I can imagine.
You have a little person's life in your hand, or even a teenager, and parents who don't want to face the issues and problems that their children have and get them the help that they need, be it ABA therapy for your autistic kids, or getting them a learning disability diagnosis so that they can have specialized learning plans in school so they could be successful and enjoy school, be it getting them mental health therapy because there's a stigma around mental health. I find that very frustrating, so I have to try and have open conversations with the parents, find out why they're not following through,
Okay.
and try and destigmatize things like labels in schools and mental health issues. And but for the most part, the parents in my practice are phenomenal. They really
good.
they love their kids. They do what's right, and that's all I can ask is
Right.
that they try the best they can to be the best parent they can be.
Right. And you were talking a little bit about the mental health issues, the autism. Within, your time working as a pediatrician, how has the general acceptance of these illnesses or, diagnosis has been improving? Or, I think people have been getting more used to these things as serious issues as opposed to the past. People didn't, they would brush it off, but these are things that, you need to take seriously, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With autism, when I first came out of residency, we were told 1 in 150 children had autism. Now we know it's about 1 in 50.
That's a big difference.
Huge difference. And
Wow.
there's lots of theories as to why the numbers have increased. Everything from environmental factors to the fact that we've broadened the definition and that we know more than we did when I was a kid. You saw autistic children in your classes, but you just thought they were a little odd. And there wasn't a diagnosis for it. Now we have so much more that we can do for these children. And even the slightest little sensory issues or social issues are now picked up on so much more quickly. And there's so many different kinds of therapists out there to help these children. That I've seen an improvement in. For me,
Which is great.
It is. For me, the mental health is still a challenge because you're still dealing with the stigmatism of people not accepting that there's a chemical imbalance in the brain. And
I mean, it's physical. It's a physical.
It absolutely is.
Ailment,
And
right.
you see that physical connection to the mental health. When kids are depressed or sad, they start getting sick more because their immune system is lowered.
Definitely.
Their
Makes sense.
vitamins get depleted. So it really is a true physical condition. And there are just people, for whatever reason, who don't want to believe it and just feel that the kids need to snap out of it or the parents need to be stricter. And that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
These kids really need therapy. So that can still be a struggle, not as bad as it was probably 20 years ago, but it's still a
course.
struggle. And even among the children, when I broached the concept of, hey, I really think you need a therapist, I've had them respond with, I'm not crazy. And I say to them, I'm not saying you're crazy, but I view therapists as coaches, just like you have
Definitely.
a soccer coach that teaches you soccer, a dance teacher that teaches you dance. We're not all born knowing how to deal with our emotions. And so a therapist is an emotion coach.
Some people, I feel like, take therapy, they're defensive about it,
Very.
And it's this, I don't go to therapy. I mean, you don't even have to have anything necessarily physically off about you to go to therapy and take advantage of it, because it's just a wonderful thing for, no matter who you are or what you're doing. I think, personally, it's something no one should be ashamed about. I think therapy is important in everyone's life. If everyone could go to a therapist, how great would that be?
We'd have a much happier society.
Exactly.
Or at least
Definitely.
people who knew how to deal with their emotions better and were more effective at expressing themselves.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, obviously those are tricky, and hopefully that starts to head in the right direction. And it sounds like it is.
It is. People are becoming more aware. There's less stigma. Certainly the autism community is loud and proud, and really getting out there and letting people know about the needs that their children have. And I'm finding a lot more parents who are networking and sharing names of therapists and even just businesses that are autism friendly or sensory need kid friendly, like the Monroe Theater Arts Center. They do a sensory screening of the children's movies when they come in, which is, I've never heard of a movie theater doing that before.
Right.
And the parents I have who have autism love that.
Right.
Or children with autism love that, because they can bring their children to the theater and the lights are up, so it's not a dark, scary place. The volume is down, so it's not a sensory
perfect for
overload.
them.
And if the children need to get up, that's okay. It's accepted.
Right.
So it's definitely becoming
Different kind of remedy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Acceptance.
Right. Absolutely. We're actually going to send it over to Taylor real quick, and then we'll come back with Jamie. She has a little bit to tell you guys listening right now, so she's going to.
All right. So this is Taylor from WTBQ, and I happen to, fortunately, have 4 tickets worth $1,000. You heard me? $1,000. It's to Indy Race at Pocono. It is an incredible race. We were there last year to see it. You have guys going 200 and some odd miles an hour. It's just amazing. And it's an all-day affair. Bring the family. There's a fan zone. There's so much to do there. It's about an hour 45 minutes from here and closer, depending on where you are. It is the top of the track. It's the Tricky Triangle. There is food. There is beer. There is wine. And for me, there's bathrooms along the whole wall, one at a time, and I'm a happy camper. I don't have to wait in line for nothing. So come on, give me a call, 845-651-1110. Be the lucky winner. And you may know people that want to go. Indy is an amazing race, and you get to meet all the drivers. So 651-1110. And Katie will be back with her guest right after this.
You doing okay?
All right now. All right now.
Mountain Creek Resort, located in Vernon, New Jersey, the most unique wedding and event destination resort in the country. Say I do on a spectacular mountaintop with stunning views, followed by your fantasy reception of up to 260 people and guest accommodations. Mountain Creek Resort, known for impeccable service and delectable cuisine. Whatever the size of your wedding or special event, it'll feel intimate and unique. An event specialist will create a truly magical experience with a special twist in a one-of-a-kind venue, the rustic, elegant ambiance of the Red Tail Lodge. Mountain Creek's your #1 destination for skiing, snow tubing, swimming, biking, or simply enjoying the water park. You and your guests will share memorable moments that'll bring you back time and time again. Mountain Creek in Vernon, New Jersey, making your dreams a reality in all 4 seasons. So call now, 973-827-2000, or visit mountaincreek.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Calvin Hargis, and as you may know, I have 2 specialties. As a board-certified neurofeedback specialist, I use neurofeedback therapy to normalize brain function associated with anxiety, depression, ADHD, and many other conditions. As a board-certified chiropractic orthopedist, I treat musculoskeletal pain. Did you know that most people with chronic pain never get better? Scoliosis treatment in this country could be enormously improved if doctors understood that most scoliotic curves are due to a short leg or an unlevel pelvis, and that most scoliosis began as simple curves to balance the spine on an unlevel base. Radiologists do not comment on leg length differences, or that most orthopedic doctors do not attempt to correct these imbalances with corrective lifts. If you have chronic pain, a child diagnosed with scoliosis, or want to know more about neurofeedback therapy, I invite you to give us a call at 845-986-5500.
When my construction company has a tight deadline, I need a contract bond fast. That's why I work with Selective. With their Contractor Express program, I can pre-qualify for bonds for many of my smaller jobs in just a few minutes.
Selective. Response is everything. For quick and easy bond solutions, visit selective.com.
Small contract bonds and no hassle. That works for me.
This is Garrett Derlin from Sealy & Derlin Insurance. For quick and affordable contract bond needs, contact us at 845-986-1177.
Insuring your business is serious stuff. You don't need gimmicks or cutesy mascots or punchlines. You certainly don't want red tape. You just want the right coverage at the right price. We're as serious about insuring your business as you are about running it. Selective. Response is everything.
This is Garrett Derlin from Sealy & Derlin Insurance. To create your custom business insurance solution, contact us at 845-986-1177.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. Join me for Ask Dr. Phil. We're going to talk about what's important in your life. So listen up and start a change reaction in your life today. You're worth it.
Weekdays at 1:30.
WTBQ. Ain't I got you on the back foot, and you know I got you really good.
Welcome back, everyone. This is your leading ladies host, Katie Krahulik, speaking right here on WTBQ, and I am here with Dr. Jamee Goldstein talking about her career in pediatric care.
Good morning.
So, good morning again. We had just been talking a little bit about, some of the challenges that come with this field. And, now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the specifics in your career. And something that I know you focus on, you specialize in, is osteopathic medicine.
Yes.
I saw that in your resume. And I want to ask about that a little bit, just because I don't really know what it is, and probably some listeners don't as well.
That's okay. So I am a DO as opposed to an MD.
Okay.
Osteopathic medicine started here in the United States in the late 1800s by a gentleman named Andrew Taylor Still, who lost a few of his children to meningitis.
Oh, no.
And he was frustrated with what we would consider traditional medications, because they weren't able to help his children. The best way to describe osteopathic medicine is to say that it is an approach to medicine where we look at the entire body as being interconnected through fascia, which is the tissue that covers all your muscles, through your neuromuscular system, because everything leads back into the spinal column and the brain. And that if one part of your body is out of order, it's going to reflect in other parts.
Affect the other parts.
So,
Right,
for instance, patients who have acid reflux, the lower third of your esophagus doesn't have pain fibers, but the lower third of the esophagus will get irritated. The nerves that innervate it get irritated, go back to their nerve root in your spine, where there's another part of that nerve going into the muscles in your back. And so oftentimes, patients with acid reflux will come in complaining of shoulder pains or pains in their mid-back. And that's because the nerve that goes there is connected to the nerve with the lower esophagus, and the irritation causes muscle changes. So in addition to regular medicine, I can practice osteopathic manipulation therapy, which my fellow DOs will be so upset with me for describing it this way, but this is how I describe it to laymen. It's kind of like a combination of chiropractic, acupressure, and massage therapy. You'll have heard of our techniques, things like lymphatic pump, craniosacral. Those are all osteopathic techniques to help get the body back into homeostasis, get it back into a place where it can maintain its own health.
Right.
So I'm fortunate in that I can prescribe medications for an ear infection, but I can also teach parents a little bit of osteopathic manipulation they can do to encourage drainage of their children's ears and help facilitate movement of fluid out of the ear canal and get the child better faster.
Very nice, right. So, how is this an important method of, remedy for people?
It's nice to be able to use your hands to help people get better and not just give drugs, especially in this day and age when so many people don't want to use medication.
Absolutely.
With antibiotic resistance. Now, osteopathic manipulation does not replace antibiotics for ear infections, for pneumonia, for sinus infections.
Okay, important.
It should be used in conjunction with medication to help the body heal itself faster.
Okay.
So there are DOs who all they do is osteopathic manipulation. There's some fabulous ones out in Stone Ridge, New York, and I know a gentleman in Springfield, New Jersey, and all they do is OMM. But they're not treating people for ear infections. They're treating people who had birth trauma and the bones in their skull fused in such a way that there's pressure on the brain. People with contractures, like people who have cerebral palsy, trying to soften the fascia and get it to stop contracting and constricting to help encourage their muscle movement.
Very nice.
People with migraine headaches, osteopathic manipulation is fabulous for them.
So it helps a lot of different things, which is
there's lots of, it's wonderful for constipation and muscle issues, and it really is a little bit more of a holistic outlook.
Right. Sounds like it. And you give lectures about this to several different groups, including med students as well as cadets. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you also give a different sort of lecture to cadets and at West Point, and this one was called A Woman's Life in Medicine. And I want to talk about that a little bit, as you can see why.
Absolutely.
Could you just talk about that experience a little bit, and what was the thesis of that presentation?
I am very fortunate to have met the pre-med advisor for the cadets at West Point, and I consider it an honor to speak with them. These people are young men and women putting their lives on the line for us to allow me to have the lifestyle that I currently live, where I get to live out my dream.
It's crazy.
And so I was asked this year to speak to the female cadets in the pre-med program about being a woman in medicine. And it was kind of an off the top of the head topic. I didn't have anything really prepared except to encourage them to find out who they are before they settle down. And it's as a woman in medicine, you have to consider not just what you want to be as a physician, but what you want to be when you're not in your office. And There are women who do not want to have families and don't want to have a husband or a wife and don't want to be tied down, and they're single, and they can go into practices and fields where they're in the hospital 24/7, and that's fine. And then there are women like myself who want the best of both worlds. I wanted a family and I wanted to be a physician. And I
think
encourage
a lot of women,
Yeah, I encourage
want the
them
best
to
of both
think
worlds.
beyond their years in the military. I encourage them that when you finally get out into the civil world, should you give up your military career one day, you need to think about what your life is going to be like. Look into the kind of practice that you're going to be joining. What is the life like after office hours? What is your call schedule like? Are you going to be in the hospital every night in the middle of the night doing spinal taps on babies, and so you're tired all the time and don't have time and patience for your own children?
Things they're probably not really thinking about.
Not at all. It's
they
such a
should be.
different mindset.
Right.
And also I found that a lot of the cadets, many of them, and I don't know the percentage, but the ones I've come into contact with are engaged before they even finish West Point.
Oh, okay.
And so I encourage them to just keep in mind that you as a person are going to change. The person you are at 18 and 19 is not the person you're going to be when you're out in the field as a commander.
Oh,
and it's
absolutely.
not the person you're going to be when you're done with your military service and you're done with medical school and you've finished residency. You continue to grow and change, and allow yourself to do that. Find
Absolutely.
yourself first. Make yourself happy in who you are and what your career is, and then add on to it and add family.
Right.
I didn't want to say don't get married, but I did say, think
Just
about
figure
it.
things out first.
Exactly. Make sure you're
fair.
true to yourself.
Right.
And my parents had done that with me. They were very much get yourself a career and an education, and then
Right. My parents the same way.
find a family. Right. And I did. I waited. I didn't get married until I was 32. Sorry, Jeff, I don't remember. But I met my husband my last year of my residency, and it worked out perfectly.
Right,
Because
of
I was
course.
able to do what I needed to do to become successful and passionate as a pediatrician.
Right.
And then add a husband and
part
two
of your life
fabulous
in.
little boys. Hi, Ethan. Hi, Spencer.
Shout out. Right. That's great advice, definitely. And you do have 2 kids. You have a family. You're juggling it all, like you said. In fact, you are also a dance instructor.
Yes,
So
yep.
can you talk about that identity a little bit, which is, completely different from the pediatric route?
So I grew up dancing at Terpsichore in Monroe. We're about to enter our 38th year. And I always loved dance. That was my sport growing up. And I missed it. When I went away to college and grad school, medical school, residency, I was away for 13 years. And I missed dance tremendously.
Right.
And when I came home, one of the first things I did was go over to the dance studio and say hi to the
Check it
people that
out.
were still there
Of course.
from when I had grown up. In fact, one of the people I grew up with owns it. And they offered me a position teaching tap because that was my thing. And I love it because I get to show my patients and other children that you can be more than one thing in life. And that doctors aren't scary people, and that we enjoy doing fun things too.
Right.
And I'm practicing what I preach. I tell children in my office all day long, you got to make healthy eating choices and you got to exercise. So here I am actually living what I'm telling them to do.
Of course.
And it gives me a chance to boost self-esteem and to just have another way of having a positive impact in young girls and some young men's lives.
Definitely. And as I was saying before, you're involved in quite a few things. Could you talk about, the other big thing that you're involved in? You want to give a little shameless plug?
Yes.
As we come to the end of the hour here.
So
or the half hour.
Monroe Pediatrics 3 years ago started doing a Pie in the Face fundraiser for pediatric cancer. Only 4% of federal cancer research dollars goes to children, yet 250 children a day in the United States are diagnosed with cancer. We found an organization through friends and connections called the Truth 365, who takes 100% of the money they receive and either uses it for a multimedia campaign to raise awareness about pediatric cancer or dedicates it to pediatric cancer research.
Nice.
So the money they're receiving is not going into a CEO's pocket, it's actually going to research. And last year, the money we raised from our fundraiser actually went to help fund 3 different brain cancer trials.
Nice. Wow.
So we are doing on September 10th in our parking lot at 2 p.m. 70 Gilbert Street, Monroe, a Pie in the Face fundraiser where the kids can come and throw pies at us and we raise money. And there will be a tricky tray with some fabulous local businesses who've donated everything from restaurants to Shakeology to LuLaRoe. We've got amazing stuff. So
Very nice.
I encourage everyone to come out Saturday, September 10th for the Monroe Pediatrics Pie in the Face for Pediatric Cancer fundraiser.
It sounds like a great event.
It's a lot of fun, and if you can come back and join us for it, it would be great.
Yeah,
We'd love to have
definitely.
you.
Oh, I'd love
We're
to
gonna have a
come.
DJ and
Cool.
have a couple of superheroes showing up. It's a lot of fun.
I'm there.
Yeah,
Very
a lot
cool.
of fun.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Jamie. I really appreciate it, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Katie, thank you for inviting me. This
No
really was a lot of
problem.
fun. I appreciate
Great.
it.
Yes, it's great. Thank you for coming again. We're going to send it back over to Taylor, who has a quick announcement for our listeners.
Yes, especially for Katie's listeners. And thank you so much for her guest. That was a lot of great information. Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a pediatrician everybody needs. Because that's the one thing I was mentioning to her, that as a parent, that is the hardest decision you ever make, is finding the right pediatrician that you're happy with. Mine threatened to put a tie line in because I called him so much, but bad. Anyway, I have some great tickets for listeners out there. I have $1,000 worth of tickets, 4 tickets, $250 each. Lots of food, all comes with it. Drink, beer, and wine. As I mentioned before, there's an individual bathrooms along the whole wall up there, and that's what makes me happy. But you are at the top of the track in Pocono. It's the Indy race. It looks like Formula One cars. It's not the NASCAR, stock cars. This is phenomenal. So give me a call, 845-651-1110. Be the lucky winner, and we're going to take you out to a break and then back to Katie.
The Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center on Kings Highway presents Honk Jr., a heartwarming celebration of being different. This version of The Ugly Duckling takes Honk Jr. on an adventure of self-discovery after realizing that he is not at all like the other farm animals. Choose one of the 2 shows on Saturday, August 20th at 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now, so go to sugarloafpac.org or call 845-610-5900 for more information.
Hi, this is Orange County Executive Steve Newhouse.
And this is Ed Harrison, General Manager of Stewart International Airport.
We want to remind everybody that this year's air show featuring the Thunderbirds will be coming
on September 3rd and September 4th. That's Labor Day weekend at Stewart International.
We also have other acts coming like the F-18 Super Hornets, as well as other static displays and performers.
Be sure to visit the website at newyorkairshow.com. That's nyairshow.com.
We hope to see you there.
Join the Warwick Historical Society for the Under the Tent Cocktail Party August 27th from 6 till 9 p.m. at Lewis Park in Warwick for an evening of food, fun, wine, music, and great conversation. You can win amazing gifts by signing up for the silent auction. Lewis Park will be tented and lit as they celebrate 11 generations of Wisner and Buckbee descendants who for many years have made contributions to both the society and our town. Become a sponsor and support the Warwick Historical Society because our history is who we are and we must keep it alive. As a sponsor, you or your business will be in all of the promotional material, media campaigns, and the event journal. For more information on becoming a sponsor or purchasing tickets prior to August 22nd, call 845-986-3236 or visit warwickhistoricalsociety.org.
This is IndyCar.
We have a green flag. They are racing at Pocono. Hunter Ray and Castronova slugging it out in a 500-mile race.
Off at 9 degrees of banking now. The long pond straightaway. Things start to pick up business-wise.
The season continues this weekend as the Verizon IndyCar Series visits the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway, for the ABC Supply 500. Listen live Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Brought to you every week by Vogler Moore Insurance and Dawson Motors.
WTBQ. Ain't I got you on the back foot? And you know I got you really good.
We are back. Hello and welcome to those who just tuned in. I'm Katie Krahulik, and you're listening to Leading Ladies, a women's talk show that features relatable, intelligent, compassionate, powerful, productive women of the 21st century. And I'm very excited to introduce today's second guest, who is here in the station with me as well. Please welcome Officer Leanne Malara, and thanks so much for coming in today, Leanne.
I'm glad to be here.
Thanks for coming. So we'll just get right to it. Leanne, she is coming from a little bit of a different background than many of my other guests. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is you do for a living?
I'm a patrolman, law enforcement, police officer. I work for the Greenwood Lake Police Department. I've been there for 4 years. I've been in law enforcement for 8.
Okay, very, very nice. So you've been in Greenwood Lake for 4 years. What are some of your responsibilities, in that line of work particularly?
Well, one of my responsibilities is youth officer as well as evidence custodian. I also do patrol, so I am responsible for anything criminal, non-criminal, vehicle and traffic enforcement.
Okay, very nice. And was law enforcement something you'd always been interested in? Did you always know you wanted to go into this field?
No. Growing up, actually, I wanted to be a zoologist.
Oh, different.
Yes. So it's the other end of the spectrum. I had no desire to get into law enforcement until I was about 21 years old.
Okay, and what kind of changed your mind about it?
I was in college. I wanted to make some money. I took a civil service test for police dispatching, and I was offered a couple jobs. I took a job in Putnam County, and I did that for a while. And I was kind of sitting there one day, and I said, this has really piqued my interest, and I really think that this is something I'd like to do. My background, I've always been service-oriented. I was a volunteer firefighter and EMT.
Okay.
So I said, why not put the police officer on the resume?
Right.
So
just add to the list.
Yeah, add to the list of emergency services
there
that
you
I've
go.
been involved in. And I applied to become a deputy, and they hired me part-time. I went through the academy and worked there for about 4 years and continued to dispatch before I was picked up full-time by the Village of Greenwood Lake.
Very nice, very nice. And, like you said, it was kind of a late decision to do this. Are there some parts of your job that were unexpected, where there's some challenges that you didn't see coming?
It's a very physical job. Just the academy itself was probably the most I've ever been physically challenged in my life.
I can imagine.
I mean, there were days that I was like, am I going to get through this? But I pushed through it, and I actually excelled more than I thought I was going to.
Fantastic.
I didn't go in there doubting myself, but, I knew that there were people saying she's small or she's a female. And
right.
But I didn't let that get to me. I said, I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to show them that I have a lot of heart. And here I am,
and you did
8 years later. Still doing
definitely.
it.
Well, sometimes that, lack of faith can be the best motivator. You just take it and say, watch me, challenge accepted.
Oh yeah, it is. It was a big motivator for me because I knew what people were saying, and I was like, nope, I'm going to show them that they're not right.
Right, of course.
I'm a firm believer in if you try your hardest, and that if it's something that you really want, that you could do it. It's something that you really want. You won't let anything get in your way. You're going to go out there and you're going to get it.
Right, absolutely. And clearly that's what you did, which is fantastic. And, on the flip side of that question, what sort of reward has this job brought you?
One of the rewards of this job is when people actually show gratitude and appreciation for what you do. Sometimes you don't really think the impact it has on people's lives, from just listening to people to being there in their time of need. That's probably one of the biggest perks of this job, is because it could be thankless at times, but
Right.
It's just seeing that you actually made an impact on someone's life, or you helped someone, and that, you know, they appreciated it. It did something for them.
Definitely. And I think sometimes, you know, people will look at this field and they'll think, you know, people are afraid of the cops, or they don't like the cops. But you're talking about the exact opposite, people being appreciative of, you know, their law enforcers.
Yeah. It's important to me as a police officer to have community, and I try to go out there and talk to people, get to know people, build rapport. It's very important to do community policing. So I like to get involved in things at the community that are you know, police involved.
Right,
you know?
right.
Whether it's an event or volunteering to do something with the kids.
Right, absolutely. Are you from the area?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm actually from Peekskill, but I graduated from high school in Putnam County.
Okay, got it. And
so I didn't spend a lot of time in Orange County. I didn't really know too much about it, but
Right.
I've really grown to love the area. It's really nice, and
Right.
I love living here.
So you've had to kind of build a new life here and your world here, and learn about the community, you know, and go step out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
And reach out to people you don't really know, places you don't really know. You know, what was that kind of like, you know, as a new member of the community?
Well, you know, just like anyone, you move somewhere and you're like the new person, the new kid in school.
Right,
I don't
right.
know. And you don't really know anybody, but I put myself out there, and especially outside of the job in the community, because even though I might be wearing my uniform at the time, I'm like, you know, I'm on duty, but I'm here to, you know, get to know people and have
Right.
fun. This is a more relaxed environment. But I've been here for probably about 3 years, and it took some time, but I got to know the county. I met a lot of great people, not only in law enforcement, but outside of law enforcement.
Right.
And I have to say that I'm really happy that I took that leap, because I had my reservations about, you know, moving from what I was familiar with. And even getting into law enforcement, I was like, this is a pretty bold decision for me.
Definitely.
Because I had some family members that weren't exactly supportive, that thought I was out of my mind.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, well, I don't think I'm crazy. I'm going to go for it.
Absolutely not. I mean, this is a completely rational, you know, choice for someone to make. It's just, you know, maybe those physical aspects that they were worried about, or that didn't make sense to them.
I think they had other aspirations for me.
Right.
They thought that I've never had any law enforcement in my family. I'm the first police officer, so it was it's not common. It's not something that they were used to.
Right. Oh, okay.
You know, it's not like it runs in the family.
Right.
The volunteer firefighter stuff does, but not the law enforcement. So I'm the first, but I've always been the woman in my family that was the one who was always the first. I was a third generation. None of the women in my family ever went into the volunteer fire department to become a firefighter, but they were part of the ladies auxiliary, and they expected me to be part of the ladies auxiliary when I told them, no, I'm going to become a firefighter. And they were like, oh, okay.
Right.
Well, good luck with that. And it was even the same with that when I first started, because they're male dominated, and they still are. There's not a lot of female firefighters. We're a minority in law enforcement. You know, you have they question you, oh, you're too small, or maybe this might be too physical for you, or you're not going to be able to do it.
Right.
And with time came acceptance, because when they see that you can physically do this job, or you're good at it, it changes their mind.
Right. I mean, this is the definition of what my show is about, you know, that idea of, you know, overcoming that discrimination, you know, exactly. And that's something you totally did, which is fantastic fantastic to see. And a lot of times I'll have women come on, and they might be from certain fields that are a little bit more female oriented, and I'll ask them, do you ever get faced any adversity as a female? And they'll say to me, not really. I've been pretty lucky, but obviously you come from a field where it's very relevant. And there it is. It does happen, obviously. It was, when you first started even thinking about, going into volunteer firefighting or going into law enforcement, did the fact that you were a female ever, worry you or make you nervous about, starting that journey?
No, I never really thought about it. And even now I get that question a lot from people, being a female or being small. You have an issue with people taking you seriously,
Right.
and I've never encountered any issues. The one thing about females in law enforcement, I believe that we are a true asset. We may not be 6 foot tall and 200 pounds,
Right.
but females are better with their words. They're better at de-escalating situations. And believe me, even though we may appear small, most of us are working out, staying in shape, what we call being fit for duty.
Right.
And we're also, once that adrenaline gets pumping,
you're focused.
Yeah,
you're
you're focused, and all your training kicks in. So, some people have, they worry or they have reservations about it because they're like, well, what if I'm not strong enough, or what if I encounter this type of situation? It's just like, you use your training, you use your head, and if you are meant to be in that position, it will work for you.
Right, definitely. We're going to come right back after we send it over to Taylor real quick, who has a few words for our listeners.
Yeah, so I want to just do a shout out to all of Katie's listeners. We had a winner. We had a gentleman who called up who was thrilled. He's always wanted to go to Indy, and he won 4 incredible tickets valued at $1,000 that he's going to be going to Pocono tomorrow. So thank you, Katie. Thank you to all the listeners. Congratulations to this gentleman who's in Warwick. We wish you all the best. You're going to have to call us and let us know how great the race was. Of course, we know. Thanks, Katie. We'll be right back with Katie after these words.
WVT is your trusted communications provider with a triple play of services, including telephone with crystal clear voice and unlimited local and long-distance calling. And it even works when the power goes out. DirecTV with over 285 channels and DVR service in every room. Act now, because with new subscriptions, you get the 2016 NFL Sunday Ticket free. Add blazing fast internet service to complete the package. All this and local technical support, too. For more information, visit WVT at WVTC.com.
Dawson Motors, Warwick's largest and oldest independent automotive facility, has been family-owned and operated for over 33 years. Their service department can professionally repair any model of car, van, or truck with certified service technicians and the latest computer diagnostic equipment. They offer tire, wheel, and battery sales, four-wheel alignments, New York State inspections, Saturday service appointments, a free customer shuttle, and also accept all major credit cards. The Dawson Motors sales department is equally impressive. All pre-owned vehicles are hand-selected by the Dawson family and thoroughly checked over and serviced. They take trade-ins, provide easy financing, and offer extended warranties on all qualified pre-owned vehicles. The car buying experience at Dawson's is truly stress-free, relaxed, and enjoyable. Call Dawson Motors today at 845-986-8558 or visit them at 45 Oakland Avenue in Warwick or online at dawsonmotors.com.
They say there is a wondrous village not far from here, as the dragon flies, where spectacle abounds, and 16th century nobles, knights, artisans, and winsome wenches await you at a magical lakeside setting, where celebrations are like nowhere else in all the land. Join us at the New York Renaissance Fair. Feast on a Titanic turkey leg. Enjoy music, comedy, acrobats, games, and mystics. Handcrafted treasures in the artisans' marketplace. Come as you are, or as you would like to be. Pirate, steampunker, royal. Costumes are optional, but fun.
It's the New York Renaissance Fair, where fantasy rules. Open Saturdays, Sundays, and Labor Day Monday through October 2nd. Located on Route 17A in Tuxedo Park, New York. Discount tickets at Walgreens. For maps, stage schedules, discounts, and more, go to renfair.com. Spend $200 in the Artisan Marketplace this weekend and receive 2 complimentary fair admission tickets. Details at renfair.com.
That jazz. This is Frank Lowell. Tune in every Sunday morning at 9 and Sunday night at 11 for And All That Jazz on WTBQ. You'll hear music of every style. It's the most eclectic show on radio.
That jazz. Hi, this is Mary Ulrich with Cornell Cooperative Extension in Orange County, inviting you to join me and your Orange County farmers on Farm Talk every Wednesday at 12 noon, where you will learn everything agriculture on WTBQ, radio worth listening to.
WTBQ. Ain't I got you on the back foot? And you know I got you really good.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Katie Krulik, guys and girls. Sorry, I'm Katie Krulik, and I'm hosting Leading Ladies here on WTBQ. And I am here with Leanne Malara. She is a police officer in Greenwood Lake, who is here to discuss her work in the field. And we had kind of just been talking about, I asked her if she was nervous as a woman to go into law enforcement, and we were talking about, how you just have to have that drive. You can't really think about those things, the physical realities of it, especially as a female. And I kind of want to talk about, just being a woman in general. In your experience, have you seen that come into play when it comes to discrimination or a lack of being taken seriously?
Internally, I have a lot of female friends who are in law enforcement, surprisingly. And I know their experiences. They've talked to me about it, that they faced discrimination within their own jobs, everywhere from being ostracized to officers refusing to back them up on calls.
Wow.
And, with time, those people changed their minds. They realized, it's silly to be sexist or
of course
to discriminate against them, because obviously they showed how capable they are.
Right.
It's just, I guess, it's breaking the stigma that females are not as strong as men in mind and in body, because
Right.
I mean, believe me, I've met some female officers that I was like, wow, she's pretty intense.
Of course.
And they're obviously being older than me and having more time on the job. My role models and my mentors, and it's hard to find good female recruits and retain them. And a lot of departments are trying to now get over to finding those strong females that are looking for a challenging job in law enforcement.
Right.
It's something that I say to a lot of the young girls, hey, when you grow up, we need good female police officers. So
of course, right.
We are a minority, but there has been a rise in recruitment, and I just, the law enforcement is changing.
Definitely.
It's not what it was 20 years ago, and I would like to see more, and I encourage it, because I've had other friends who are females who wanted to get into law enforcement, and I do nothing but encourage them, and now most of them have successful careers. One of them just got hired by a pretty big department in Westchester County, and I'm super proud of her, because
That's
I
fantastic.
remember when she was just trying to take the tests, and she was kind of feeling a little down, because she felt like maybe this is not going to happen for me. And I said, keep trying. I know that you have the potential.
Right.
Keep taking ththose tests, keep taking those agility tests, and you're going to get picked up. And she did. And now she's working for an awesome department in Westchester. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud.
Right, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's great for you to see, and it's wonderful for me to hear. And to hear you say that you have, so many female friends in the field is also super refreshing, you know, to hear. And you said it's something that you're seeing, rise is the number of women in the field. Obviously, it's small, but you are seeing more women.
Yeah, well, Orange County just put, I think, 4 females through the last academy for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and that's kind of something that you don't see often.
Right.
A lot of departments that are on the smaller side still only have that one female officer, like mine.
Right.
But like I said, it's an asset to have in the department, because when you're dealing with things like domestic violence, we have more of a softer side. Definitely. And I feel like we're more in tune to deal with those type of things.
Absolutely. It's just, that different outlook that you guys bring to the table, which can solve situations, can fix major problems. We definitely see
things differently, but it doesn't change the fact, just because we can be a little bit on the softer side does not mean that we can't be firm and assertive, because
of course,
believe me, that's not an issue.
Right. No, I'm sure. And, something else I kind of want to ask about is, when you guys are out in the field, and you need to approach someone or, enforce the law, do you ever find that you're not taken seriously in those situations, in those scenarios?
I've never encountered that situation. I'm not saying I never will.
Right.
Not even just female, but male officers have encountered that situation. Right. Where there's that, most people tend to cooperate, but so everyone's going to have that individual that does not want to cooperate, and they're going to give you problems. And we tend to try to, work together, and that's when training kicks in. We never get complacent. We think about tactics and safety all the time.
Okay. Right. So it's good to hear that hasn't happened, but again,
not yet. But I still have about 16 years left, so we'll see.
Right. And then also before you were talking about, the concept of mentorship with this field and how important it is to you. And since you are the youth officer, I'm sure that's something that, translates into your job now. So can you talk about, how you encourage young people, to behave positively, to have positive attitudes, especially young women, to be confident and
I try to talk to the youth as much as I can. I get out of my car, I get to know them, I participate in the youth basketball league, and I go to the teen center, and I tell them, even though I may be the last person you reach out to know that if you need someone or you want to talk to someone,
right,
I'm here. Come find me. Call me at the police station. I really think that it starts with our youth to instill character building and good decision-making skills, not just your teachers or those adult role models, but at home.
Right.
So it starts at home, and then you have people outside the home like teachers and law enforcement officers who want to instill these characteristics in children.
Right. It's wonderful to see that that's, such a big part of your job and your life as well.
Yes.
It's kind of like a two-way street. You have your job with the general public over here and enforcing law, but then you also have this other side of your career where you work with the young people,
it's more relaxed.
Right.
It's like, Officer Lee, not Officer Malara.
Right,
a little bit more relaxed. I want to encourage them to be not just functioning members of society, but productive and
of course,
members of society.
Of course, right.
Get into the community, go towards your goals. Don't let anything get you off track. And if you do get off track, get right back on it.
Right.
Don't let anything bring you down.
Right, definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Leanne. It was a pleasure, and you're an excellent role model in the community. This has been Leading Ladies here on WTBQ. I'm Katie Krahulik, and we'll see you next week.